Can position it. You want to move it further? Darshan, just a little. This is good.
उसको तो बहुत कुछ लाने का होगा.
All close?
I think so.
No, this is fine. Yeah, this is good.
आजा ठीक है.
Sound it will catch.
आजा.
Yeah, sound it will.
They will need to put some kind of
Light, right?
No, not light. We need to
Do you
block
have
this
this?
light.
Yeah. Do you have this?
Last time I saw,
Okay, we will start. We will try and study. Rita.
अरे कर्मयोगियों इतने थके हुए क्यों हो? या तो हमसे डरे हुए तो हमारे पास लाठी रख दो. तो इतने दूर दूर बैठने की क्या जरूरत है?
आप विष्णु गुप्ता जी को जानते हैं? वो भी हिस्ट्री में बहुत साल अब डायलिसिस से लगे. He was also आपका
He was organizing. I think he gives even a Sanskrit and
he is shortly say PhD in chemical engineering.
40 years.
आप सब
See, I finished in 77.
77.
I came in
early 70s के.
अरे भाई इतने छोटे छोटे बच्चे इस तरह बैक सपोर्ट लेके बैठते हैं. क्या हो रहा है ये तमाशा? इतना बुढ़ा कब हो गए?
Should we move it closer a little bit?
I think that might work better.
Walk.
होता है उसी का नाम है पुण्य.
Oh yeah, थोड़ा सा हिला.
पुण्य अर्जन योग सो जाओ आर्य हम हमारे रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है आपका बेड़ा पार करना है. आपका जितना पैसा मेरे पास लगा दो. दिस इज वन मॉडल. दूसरा मॉडल है कि अपना खुद करना पड़ेगा. अनफॉर्चुनेटली माइन इज द सेकंड मॉडल. सो यू आर इन अ बैड प्लेस. मेरे से कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. आपके लिए खुद अपना करना होगा.
Okay.
तो आप बोलोगे ये बेकार के पास क्यों चला जा रहा है?
Okay, thanks again for joining, and we'll continue the discussion on Isavasya Upanishad. And before that, we chant the Shanti Mantra, Shantiyadya. This is from the Yajurveda. We have some English printouts so you can chant. There are some Devanagari.
आप मुझे देवनागरी दे. मुझे इंग्लिश हिंदी वाला दे दीजिए. संस्कृत.
ओम ऋचं वाचं प्रपद्ये मनो यजु प्रपद्ये साम प्राणं प्रपद्ये चक्षुः श्रोत्रं प्रपद्ये वागोजः सहोजो मयि प्राणापानौ जन्मे छिद्रं चक्षुषो हृदयस्य मनसो वाति तृणं बृहस्पतिर्मे दधातु सन्नो भवतु भुवनस्य जस्पतिः भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् कयानश्चित्र आभुवदूति सदा वृदः सखा कया सचिष्ठया वृता कस्त्वा सत्यो मदानं मग्निष्ठो मत्सदन्धसः दृढाचिदारुचे वसो अभीषणः सखीनामविता चरित्रिणां शतं भवास्युतिभिः कया त्वन्न ऊत्याभिप्रमन्दसे वृषन् कया स्तोत्रिभ्य आभर इन्द्रो विश्वस्य राजति सन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे सञ्चतुष्पदे सन्नो मित्रः संवरुणः सन्नो भवत्पर्यमा सन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः सन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः सन्नो वातः पवतागुं सन्नस्तपति सूर्यः सन्नः कनिक्रदद्देवः पर्जन्यो अभिवर्षतु अहानिशं भवन्तु नः सगुं रात्रि प्रतिधीयताम् सन्न इन्द्राग्नि भवतामवोभिः सन्न इन्द्रावरुणा रातहव्या सन्न इन्द्राभूषणा वाजसातौ समिन्द्रा सोमा सुविताय संजोः सन्नो देवीरविष्टय आपो भवन्तु पीतये संजोरविस्रवन्तु नः शोना पृथिवी नो भवानक्षरा निवेशनी दच्छानः सर्वसप्रधाः आपो हिष्ठामयो भुवस्थान ऊर्जे दधातन महेरणाय चक्षसे यो वः शिवतमो रसस्तस्य भाजयते हनः उशतीरिव मातरः तस्मादरङ्गमाववो यस्य क्षयाय जिन्नथ आपो जनयथा जनः द्यौः शान्तिरन्तरिक्षगुं शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरौषधयः शान्तिर्वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्विश्वे देवाः शान्तिर्ब्रह्म शान्तिः सत्त्वगुं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सा मा शान्तिरेधि धृते त्रिगुंहमामित्रस्य मा चक्षुषा सर्वाणि भूतानि समीक्षन्ताम् मित्रस्याहं चक्षुषा सर्वाणि भूतानि समीक्षे मित्रस्य चक्षुषा समीक्षामहे धृते त्रिगुंहमा ज्योक्ते संदिशि जीव्यासं ज्योक्ते संदिशि जीव्यासं नमस्ते हरसे शोचिषे नमस्ते अस्त्वर्चिषे अन्यास्ते अस्मत्तपन्तु हेतयः पावको अस्मभ्यगुं शिवो भव नमस्ते अस्तु विद्युते नमस्ते स्तनयित्नवे नमस्ते भगवन्नस्तु जतः सह समीहसे जतो जतः समीहसे ततो नो अभयं कुरु सन्नः कुरु प्रजाभ्यो भयन्नः पशुभ्यः आप ओषधयः सन्तु दुर्मित्रियास्तस्मै सन्तु ज्योत्स्मान् द्वेष्टिजं च वयं दिक्मः तच्चक्षुर्देवहितं पुरस्तात् शुक्रमुच्चरते पश्येम शरदः शतं जीवेम शरदः शतगुं शृणुयाम शरदः शतं प्रब्रवाम शरदः शतमदीनाः स्याम शरदः शतं भूयश्च शरदः शतात् हरि ओम स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ पयः पृथिव्यां पय ओषधीषु पयो दिव्यन्तरिक्षे पयोदाः पयस्वतेः प्रदिशः सन्तु मह्यम् ॐ विष्णोरराटमसि विष्णोः स्नग्धेस्थो विष्णोः शिवरसि विष्णोद्धुभोऽसि वैष्णवमसि विष्णवे त्वा ॐ अग्निर्देवता वातो देवता सूर्यो देवता चन्द्रमा देवता वसवो देवता रुद्रा देवता विद्या देवता मरुतो देवता विश्वे देवा देवता बृहस्पतिर्देवतेन्द्रो देवता वरुणो देवता ॐ सद्यो जातं प्रपद्यामि सद्यो जाताय वै नमः भवे भवेनाति भवे भवस्समा भवद्भवाय नमः वामदेवाय नमो ज्येष्ठाय नमः श्रेष्ठाय नमो रुद्राय नमः कालाय नमः कलविकरणाय नमो बलविकरणाय नमो बलाय नमः बलप्रमदनाय नमः सर्वभूतदमनाय नमो मनोन्मनाय नमः अघोरेभ्यो घोरेभ्यो घोर घोरतरेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः सर्वसर्वेभ्यो नमस्ते अस्तु रुद्ररूपेभ्यः तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे महादेवाय धीमहि तन्नो रुद्रः प्रचोदयात् ईशानः सर्वविद्यानामीश्वरः सर्वभूतानां ब्रह्माधिपतिर्ब्रह्मणोऽधिपतिर्ब्रह्मा शिवो मे अस्तु सदा शिवो शिवो नामाशिषदितिस्ते पिता नमस्ते अस्तु मा माहि घोषिः निवर्तयाम्यायुखे नाद्याय प्रजननाय रायस्पोखाय सुप्रजास्त्वाय सुवेब्जाय ओम विश्वानि देव सवितद्दरितानि पराशुव यद्भद्रं तन्न आशुव ओम द्यौः शान्तिरन्तरिक्षं शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिर्वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्विश्वे देवाः शान्तिर्ब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वगुण शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सामा शान्तिरेधि ओम सर्वेषां वा एष वेदानागुरसो यत्सामा सर्वेषामेवेनागुरसेनाभिषिञ्चति ओम शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Thank you, Praveen ji, and thank you everybody for keeping our studies alive. स्वाध्याय प्रवचनाभ्याम मा प्रमदितव्यम. To study on your own. Swadhyaya is your own self-study. Pramaditavyam means you cannot just, get into pramada. I don't care, careless, to be careless. Pravachana is teaching. So everybody, you may think like you are a little student, you are not teaching. There are always people, even your parents are learning something from you. So you have to be mindful of Swadhyaya, self-study all the time. When you are not planning on your own self-study, you are still studying. You are studying bad things. So when you design, this is what I'm going to study, this is what, because mind is constantly flowing out and through these windows and doors of our sensory faculties, our eyes and ears, and we are always learning. So the only thing is, sometimes when you define what you want to learn, then your learning type of energy gets exhausted in your given field. And then otherwise you are just kind of living the life, daily life. So if your learning type of mind, which is made of Sattva Guna, in 24 hours, for a healthy person, you get 8 hours of Sattva Guna, 8 hours of Raja Guna, 8 hours of Tamo Guna. In Tamo Guna, you sleep. In Raja Guna, you don't just get cranky or all, you also do all your activities. In the mode of Sattva Guna, you have to capture that, to use that. And sometimes when you are depressed or you are hurt, you are quarreling or whatever, your Sattva Guna time is taken over by Raja Guna and Tamo Guna. So when you are doing tapas, when you are doing self-study for a long time, you are increasing Sattva Guna time and decreasing Raja Guna time and Tamo Guna time. Some of the things I have seen or, like met some of the yogis, that's like a, legend to you. Like this Khaptar Baba I have met, and also partly I would say studied with him, the Yoga Sutra. He had better memory. At the age of 98, this man had a better memory than when I was 26. I'm having debate over how to interpret one Yoga Sutra. He starts citing from the commentary. And then I go forward and he says, oh, no, you have to go backward in the previous sutra. I'm like, I can go from A to Z, Babaji, but I can't go from Z to A. I can't reverse back. And then he kind of starts telling me what is the passage there. I was so shocked because Babas can be Babas, like it's good guys, but I'm a scholar. I have also ego. Now this Baba is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And then I say, Baba, do you kind of self-study this book like every day? Is it part of your self-study? He looks at me, he loved me a lot, and we used to have a lot of informal conversation. And he looks at me and laughs like a 5-year-old triumphant kid, with medal or something. And he says, I read that book 40 years ago. I'm not kidding.
Because I have looked into his little heart, every corner, okay? Something called book or paper or pen or those things don't even exist there. That is called memory. And this man, at the age of, he died at the age of 114, and that's already very rare. But you know how many hours he used to sleep? 3 hours. We get 8 hours of sleep and you still feel drowsy. Am I correct or not? Am I correct or am I correct, right? So why? Because we are drowned by tamoguna. Because the culture we have created, the food, the habits we have picked up, the stress we are living in. I don't know why we have stress. I go to see people, you know, I just came from Nepal, and then these cherished people, you know, they, some people, you wouldn't believe it, they picked up these raspberries from like up forests. These are the 4 or 5 girls, like the ladies, they picked up raspberries. They went to forest, picked up raspberries, and waiting on the roadside for the travelers to come and purchase that raspberry so that they could have something to support themselves. And I look in their face, they are so happy, they're so released, they're stress-free. And I'm like, what is their bank balance? 0. Do they have health insurance? No. Is there any safety in terms of, you know, belt? What? No. They just are happy. We think that to be happy, we need these conditions met, and our list of conditions increases. They don't have any list. That is why they are happy. They're like, if I sell 4 of these raspberries, are you kidding? I'm going to have 50 rupees. I'll have amazing dinner. That's it, you know. This is life. Okay.
Sasatam Santushta.
Yeah.
They are following that way. Try to be happy.
Santosh is already given, not as a result of what we do. It's as a tendency, as an attitude of being. And we think that if I get this much, that will make me happy. We are holding on to happiness till that moment. And it's like, I will be so happy when I go to Lake Tahoe for, you know, or Yosemite or Grand Canyon, and then go every year too. We are holding on to the thought of being happy for that moment. Why just don't be, why I'm just be happy now. Don't hold to that. And we invest so much of energy to allow ourselves to be unhappy. I met one person, and her friend asked me, like, how can you do to make her happy? And after lengthy conversation, I came to conclusion, it was, I could not tell it like that, but I came to conclusion, no, there's no way, because when somebody starts enjoying unhappiness, can you believe that? It can happen. When some people start loving bitterness, it's like we all love bitter gourd here, maybe except for a bunch of kids, you know, Karela. You or spicy, you know, ghost pepper, chili pepper. For other people who have never experienced spicy food, it's insane. But for those who like spicy, it's their habit, okay? For the people who love bitter food like Karela, they love it. Other people, it's insane. They can't, I mean, it's crazy. So the same way, you think that, oh, how can someone be happy by being unhappy? But that is their culture, you know. I mean, they have developed into themselves a form of their mind. They have conditioned their mind to be like that. And how not to follow that pattern, that's all we are trying to do. I know you all are busy and you are cutting so much from your happiness, you know, like it's something, one whole television show, maybe some World Cup going on, I don't even know. But it's just like miserable. Are we back to school or what, you know? But thank you again. I don't want to just go on and on in that happiness. But this book we are trying to read, we are not trying to understand the metaphysics of liberation. The book is about karma. And I know some of you were in our Bhagavad Gita discourse who missed out. Why? You know, we did discuss the Bhakti Yoga, and for the first time, a bunch of friends later told me, oh my gosh, we were only told something else about Bhakti, and we never talked about this thing as Bhakti. How we only know about surrendering to God as Bhakti, and Bhakti actually appears as a service to society or social action. And then that is not the kind of thing that we discuss as Bhakti Yoga. So this is karma. And in the type of karma, what happens for all of us, we have done karma. Our daughters are there preparing for Yaseti karma. So these are all types of karmas we do, and karma always leaves behind some type of residue. That is called samskara, a predisposition, a sort of a tendency, a type of habit. So that karma determines our next karma. One action today determines our action tomorrow. Some people who are taking a real wide right turn will always have that attitude to take a wider right turn. That is samskara, that is the habit. So our karmas create a disposition. We first think, don't do bad karma, it will hurt people, it will destroy yourself. It will constitute a predisposition in us, which we can be certain that will have consequences. There are two types of things that go around as a theory in terms of our past and future continuity being. So one, this is theory of evolution, which is called now a scientific theory, that we just kind of evolved from inertia matter, and then we have this life like a bubble, and it will just go away. So there is nothing to go continue after this life, and we call that a scientific theory. Another theory that comes around is ex nihilo, out of nothing. There is this one dude in his cranky mood just made us up, and then we are placed in this situation as determined by him, and he only knows he has planned for whatever we are supposed to do. And then when we die, we'll be judged based on our actions, and he will either reward us or punish us, and that is it. So in both these theories, subjects have absolutely no choice. We are placed here either by freak accident, following the first theory, or by somebody else. Why should someone else put us in this situation? If you are running very great, and then, okay, but what about those people? Out of 8 billion people living on planet Earth, although we have food to feed all 8 billion, we have 500 million, maybe 1 billion people sleeping every night hungry in this planet Earth. And therefore, I kind of don't like somebody planning and having, if there is somebody planning, this is a messed up plan. This is a very bad planning, okay? So then what is the alternative theory then? The alternative theory is the theory of the Upanishads. That is why I saw that for all the rational people, for the humanity in the future, this is actually a way out. And not because I love these books, but because, number one, these books are grounded on rationality, on reason. You can argue, you can reject. This is not somebody dumping onto you, number one. And number two, it does not accept a freak accident theory or somebody else planning for you, your daddy planning for you. It is you planning for your being. Then you can say, but how? I don't remember planning this life in this particular way. Okay, the memory is a very difficult issue, because what you will say, why should I believe that I had a previous life and I had previous actions? Based on tendencies, we always say there are some reasons for those tendencies. That's all we are saying. Not in the detail of every single food you have eaten, therefore you have this particular tendency there. But why are certain subjects developing particular mental tendencies, particular psychological behavior, particular biological instinct? Because we are saying, okay, those are genetic things. That's also we are saying when we say predispositions, we are including our genetic predispositions already conditioned from our previous being in the form of our father and grandfather and billion years of our genetic history, that our physical being is conditioned by our earlier physical beings. The same way our psychological being is also conditioned by our earlier psychological conditionings. So if our actions condition us so much, what the book is going to tell us, I will read from 3 to 5, 6, and then I know what the 3 we discussed kind of early, but we'll repeat that. And then based on the text, I would like to go into the depth of the nature of action and why Shankara personally believes to rise above action. But again there, what he meant by that, because that is another big blunder that, I'm sorry, gurus are also making. No karma needed. Oh, well, Krishna never told us that. Upanishads never teach us that. Karma is integral part of our being as long as you have 2 things, your body and your mind. You can give up your body, still then your mind will not stop functioning. 2 of my teachers died after having a very bad paralysis. Okay, one was in Banaras, another in Kathmandu. The Banaras one I didn't have to deal with long because he got paralysis after I had left. The one in Kathmandu lived for 4 or 5 years, would not move below the navel. And I used to go hang out whenever I have extra time. That's mean, okay, but that's what it is. Life is like that. You don't cut your routine. Then I got to ask him really weird questions that I would not maybe even discuss in there. Like, oh my gosh, is this appropriate to even ask like a 80-year-old teacher who is paralyzed? Would you want to have a physical company if you could? Because I'm a philosophy student. I need to know from my teacher who will never lie to me, who would tell exactly to the way he feels about these things, you know? And do you have desires? It's like then you see when your body succumbs, when your body cannot do it, even then, as long as there is this mind thing in you, all your actions are just the way they are. So the absolute thing for us to achieve while in the body is how to distill our action, how to create action guided by sattva, how to constitute our actions. Forget about not like getting away from freeing ourselves from action. Number 1, that is not going to happen. And number 2, if you free yourself from good actions, you will end up doing bad actions. Just like I said in the beginning, if you don't study, you have this learning capacity. You learn something that you don't need to learn, you know. So why not you use your mind to learn something that is actually going to be good for you, so that it is not going to pick up something that's not necessary. Anyway, Asurya namate loka andhena tamasavritah tagste pretyabhigachanti jeke chatmahano janaha anijadekam manaso javiyo nainat deva apnuvan purvamarshat tadhavatonnyan atyeti tishtat tasmin napo matarishva dadhati तदेजति तन्नैजति तद्दूरे तद्वन्तिके तदन्तरस्य सर्वस्य तदु सर्वस्यास्य बाह्यतः यस्तु सर्वाणि भूतान्यात्मन्येवानुपश्यति सर्वभूतेषु चात्मानं ततो न विजुगुप्सते. यस्मिन् सर्वाणि भूतानि आत्मैवाहुर्विजानतः तत्र को मोहः कः शोकः एकत्वमनुपश्यत. This is the goal. Let us see how far we can go. How do we do action? Every action has a reaction. That's what theory of karma means. Not just physical action though, because now they understood well about physical laws that every action has a reaction, and that way till Newton to come for that, right? Our rishis have gone all the way to the laws for the physical bodies apply also for the mental things, because that mind also has the same energy flowing through. And now in the physics, in the field they are working in the quantum physics or more subtle, subparticle world, they are trying to recognize how the brain waves function with the thought patterns and how we can affect it, how we can change. Actually, a bunch of Harvard studies have revealed that if you make a habit of meditating for 3 weeks, just 3 weeks, and I have seen at least tens of these fMRI, the photos of the brain scan, okay? And then they show based on where the blood flow is. Our Nilesh Bhai understands far better than I can explain, but it's easier. So they would know better than I am. Your brain changes, and you can see this today. The same subjects before meditation and the same subjects after meditation, you can put their brain photos side by side, and you can see how big a difference it is making. It changes your whole brain structure. But why do I need to change the brain? Because the thing is, your brain has a particular pattern. Therefore, you do certain things in certain way. Tomorrow, somebody tells this is not the way to do, but you still do that way. And sometimes I'm sure all of us have cursed ourselves for making the same mistake. Shit, I took this wrong turn again. Why am I taking this again? Because it's a habit, because it's wired in the brain. I am sure many of you have felt that you do not want to consciously listen to the music, that particular music again, but when it comes, when it is played, or somehow you still get tuned into it. It's just one of those stupid things you picked when you are like teen, and you can't get over it. It's somehow wired. Because there is a trace in your brain that music has already made. Your brain is shaped in a pattern, they call this, neural network. So they have already made those networks, and you are not able to get out of that network. So that is why habits, karma is not just what I do now. Karma is also about our habit. Sometimes doing something like this, it's getting out of our habitual life. What is habitual feels comfortable, but that is not satisfactory, because you are the soul divine. You all know, you have heard this cliche, you are God, it's been like a cliche. But what is the definition of God? You are the creator of the world. When you are allowed to create your own universe, you are happy. When someone intervenes upon your creation of the world, you are unhappy. Unfortunately, we are not almighty. We love to create a fantasy world, but that doesn't work out in the real world, which is created by 8 billion other minds like us. And then we have to negotiate. All our life is spent trying to negotiate with other 8 billion minds. And that is why we can't be happy. So this creator, that is why you need to know action, the law of action, and how to actually help ourselves in this quagmire. And so fundamentally, this verse is exactly on that line. Asurya nama te loka asuranam bhava asurya. Asura is a funny word. It can mean God, it can mean demon. How can any word, we all only know Asura means demon, right? Vritrasur, this Asur, Ravana is Asur, Mahishasur. But in Rig Veda, even Indra is called Asura. So how can God be Asura when your focus is on Asu, prana, life? Ra means rakshati, protect. When you are obsessed with your life, you are Asura. Now, do you know who is Asura, who is not? Just think about yourself. Asura, life, Ra. At any cost. I'm not saying go and kill yourself, but what I mean is at any cost, when you tube fed or taking others' heart and kidney and everything, Asura. You have to keep this going. Asu means life, Ra means raksha, protect. That is called Asura, means one who only thinks about. You can protect this life for a higher goal. Then you are not Asura. You are not obsessed with just saving the life, because you are keeping yourself alive for a higher things to accomplish. Then that doesn't make you Asura. But if your focus is just, oh, this gives me good life, I will live for longer time, a longevity, this is what. Today's spiritual discourses are mostly about healthy life. And why do you need a healthy life? And I ask, but why do you need to be healthy? I mean, most likely Bharatji will not say like that, but everybody says, are you kidding? You know why they say that? Is because that is the goal. Everything you do, you want to be healthy, that's it. But you need to not forget, you need to be healthy so that you can do something beautiful. You can create something beautiful. Creation will make you happy. If you are not happy one day, just go and collect a bunch of pile of clay and try to make something. You will feel for a while dumb, but after half an hour, you will be really happy. I bet. If you come with the mud and say you are not happy, you can put that mud on me and that will make you really happy. So it's like making something new. That's our nature. That's a human nature. And so there is no higher goal for us. Creativity, pratibha. That is our nature. And Asura, we are not Asura. If you are Asura, what happens? No Asura is ever happy. Now the myths are good for this. Asuras are so powerful. Like look at the Mahishasura. He is so powerful. He defeated Brahma. He defeated Vishnu. He controlled, heaven, and he threw all the gods down to earth, and they were hiding everywhere. And he's unhappy. He saw this later. This Shumba and Nishumba. What happens? They see this Bhagavati manifest as a beautiful woman, and then they say, I need to control this woman, then I will be happy. And then Bhagavati says, yeah, I mean, that would be okay, but you have to defeat me. I'm like, are you kidding? Because they have this ego. Nobody can defeat us. We are so powerful. That is their weakness, right? They are unhappy people. Asuras are made to be unhappy. So the Asuras nama loka andhena tamasa avrita. Avrita means covered with the darkness, deep, dense darkness. If our obsession is located only to Asu, only to protect this life thingy, to please ourselves, I want to eat the best food, to wear the best, to have the best. If our attitude is located towards here, Asurya nama te loka andhena tamasavrita, there is no, it's not making up. This is a fact, and there is no exception to it. It's an absolute universal truth. Tagste pretya avigatsanti But is it a punishment that they have to go to the dark world after they die? Is God watching over us and therefore? No, because no, not that. Eketa atmahano janaha, the people who kill themselves. Number one, the atmahano jana, easy, simple meaning. Atmaghati means one who kills himself, but there is a deeper meaning here. Atmahana, you are the divine soul. You are pure consciousness. You are Sat, Chit, and Ananda. And what you are doing, you are rejecting that nature. You are blocking that nature from yourself, and you are letting your body and your life to cover all your tendencies. You determine all your actions. So everything you want to do is for your body and for your life energy. But you could have returned back your mind, your consciousness to your own pure nature. That would be your own Sat, your own Chit, and your own Ananda nature. So the minute I reject myself means my true self, I already condition myself to the lower state, to the state of life force, vital energy. That is only going to be my attitude. And then the punishment is nobody is punishing. It's my choice. Do I want to go to the light, to the higher state? Mostly in this body, you can get only when you have accumulated sattva guna. In the morning, most people are in good mood, even the cranky people, okay? Even really sick and old people. They are also in a better mood, relatively speaking, than when the day goes by. So there is a where everybody finds some degree of sattva in a daytime. You figure out. Everybody has their own routine of when you have sattva guna. Monitor that. Figure out. It might take a day. If you are drinking habit, I don't know, then you will have a hangover. And, like I had one of my colleagues, and then he had this morning hangover. I didn't know about these things, and everybody, because he was the vice chancellor of the university. So and he was my friend. He was a little senior, but he's still my friend. And then he called me, and then Sanesh, just do me a favor. Please go and buy one vodka for me. And then I'm like, okay, well, he drinks, so it's not my problem. And then I'm like, but why don't you just go? And then he shows, because today there is a big program and they are not letting me drink. Because everybody is monitoring, they know his habit, they know his weakness, all these good wishers, well wishers. And so I'm like, okay, I'll get it for you, don't worry. And then as soon as I'm getting out, and they say, they know, like, hey Pandit, where are you going? I'm like a trap. I can't even lie. And they just, is that Naveen, his name? Naveen. Is that guy sending you out? Because they knew that he will find somebody who is innocent to do the job, And then later then somebody educated me about how if you drink a lot in the evening, then you still need a little bit in the morning. Okay, well, still then I'm sure there is a time where there is a rise of sattva guna. Sit in meditation at that time. There is no routine about when to sit in meditation, at 6 in the morning, at 8 in the evening. There is no routine like that. You have to sit in meditation when there is a surge of sattva guna. Why should I waste my sattva guna time not watching a TV but sitting in meditation? But the reason is it will multiply. The next day, if some people have decrease of sattva to the extent that only 1 hour in 24, they can be in the state of sattva, and some people may be even less, So if they use that 1 hour of sattva guna to sit in, meditate, think positively, it will increase. So the purpose of karma is not just to get some heavenly accumulation of virtue, punya, and go to heaven. It is to create good predispositions in this body, to re-educate our mind, to reprogram our mind so that we can improve the quality of our life right now. Atma hano jana. So only the people who kill their true inner being. How do you kill? You deny. You want to be happy, and you repeatedly deny yourself to be happy. You make yourself miserable, because making yourself sad feels good. Gloomy, gloomy feel, watching the rainbow and maybe crying a bit, making oneself like a victim of the whole world. Nobody cares for me. And then this is the source of tamogun. And this will take you down, not your enemies. No enemy is there to defeat anybody. We all are born with our friends and with our enemies. So what is this inner being, the self, the Atman I'm talking about? What type of thing is this? Is the second verse talks about it. Anejat ekam, it is one, experienced as many. Anejat is motionless. Why should that be motionless? Because it is universal. It is not fragmented into me and you and the world. Oh my gosh, what will happen to me if I get into that ocean of oneness? Nothing is going to happen. First of all, our habits of division, distinction is so strong that even if you merge in that state of oneness for hours, you will still wake up there for even years. Rishis who went to Samadhi and stayed in Samadhi for years will still wake up in their own bodily ego. Okay? But if you ever get into that momentary experience of being the totality, it is possible. I'm telling you based on the experience, okay? Let me not go further than that. It is possible. What will happen? Then you will be able to see from other side. Because right now it is intellectual. Then it will be guided by personal experience. That there is no loss, it's a gain. And then everybody likes to gain. Nobody likes to lose. And then you will see, oh my gosh, are you kidding? I was worried about losing myself. Now I'm concerned about gaining everything as me, the totality as myself. So it's like now is infinitesimal. Even a mosquito doesn't like to die. If I tell that mosquito, come on mosquito, I will make you a human being right away. And then if we could have a conversation with that, mosquito would, what's wrong with me? I mean, why don't you make yourself a mosquito? So that is the kind of, if we had the choice to liberate from our obsession with this mind-body complex, we would open up to the reality that is not even cognizant, that is not even imaginable in this state of our consciousness. A whole totality, the gaze of totality will wide open to us. A light, for the first time will come to us, touch us. Our heart will open to that bliss that we were not even used to. We wouldn't even know how to react to that unfathomable bliss. Nothing shocking, but it's bewildering. It's still strange for the first time to begin with. And that is in us. And we have been denying that, which is built in nature. Bliss is our built-in nature. Like you have a built-in whatever, softwares or hardware, something built-in. Our built-in nature is our consciousness. You cannot have a living being that is not conscious. You cannot have a living being that doesn't have vital energy, life force, and the body. There is no living being without the body. Bodiless being doesn't exist. Even if they are in the subtle forms, they still have a body. In the subtle bodies is also body. Okay? But deeper programming than that is our pure consciousness and pure unconditional bliss. That is the blueprint. That is the fabric. We have made, our basic constitution is on the fabric of pure consciousness and pure bliss. And that is something we have denied. Has God denied that to us? No. I mean, there is no God in this world, in this philosophy, that is just sitting and trying to, put into water, like waterboarding kind of thing. No, nobody does that to us. Okay. Anejad ekam, the word ho gaya, it is motionless and one. But what happens? Manaso javiyo, it has the speed faster going than even the mind. But isn't that a paradox? The paradox is the power the self has, the Chaitanya has, the energy, the Shakti of this Chaitanya is such that, so that is where a little bit of positive interpretation is required, rather than all is Maya causing emotion. No, it's the power embedded with the Chidananda. That is what is giving us motion. We feel that. Again, we are creating our own sequentiality, order, temporality, and then although your mind is not conditioned by time, we ourselves set up time and condition ourselves. I am going little over here, but let me break down this last sentence. We all experience time, right? If we did not have consciousness, we could not experience time. To experience time, we need consciousness. In absence of consciousness, there is no time. So, who creates time? Consciousness. So the thing that creates time cannot be subject to time itself. That is a theory. If you are a programmer, you are not inside that program. If your consciousness is the programmer of the temporal world, temporal order, temporal structure, you are not programmed inside temporality. Then why do I feel myself trapped in time, trapped in order? Because the whole programming is tat srishtva tadeva anupravishat. You create, and somehow you build an amazing house. Oh my gosh, I'm going to live in this house. You go inside and trap yourself. The whole program is we create our own cocoon and then we put ourselves into that miserable situation. We have done that job. I mean, like when we were in colleges, I played bunch of not so good things. I mean, like I wanted to punish one guy so bad. It's not even pious good thing to say in front of so many people in a spiritual conversation. But there are some people who really need to be punished. What can you do about that? So we all, the like-minded friends, we decided to put him in a really good position. He was so happy, and then he thought these mortal nemesis, enemies, finally recognized his majestic thing and are promoting him to this. We knew how painful that position is, okay? Poor being suffered there for 2 years and then ultimately resigned. We were happy every day for 2 years. I'm sorry, it's a little it's a little sad, but I mean, he was making so many people suffer for no reason. And we didn't hurt him. We promoted, it's good. He was happy. He could never blame us later too. That so we think that, like in the world, you are punished by people who deny your position. No. Sometimes the people who give you higher position are punishing you. It's in the life, you don't need to achieve all these things. They look like achievement, they are traps.
think this is a. Can I comment just
Sure, yeah.
very quick? Because this is a very important subject, and I've been going through since 8 o'clock in the morning. Just so happened. And the reason being, there are two people who are very, very, very highly accomplished did a suicide.
Oh my God.
You know Katie from New York,
Yeah.
and you know the second guy, I believe Anthony, his name.
Oh yeah. Gordon, yeah. Oh, okay. News. Yeah, it was in the news. Right.
And there are 50,000 people in America do suicide every year.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah.
So the point that you are making, which is very, 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 very important, even though these guys are so highly accomplished and they have achieved a lot in your eyes, my eyes, and everybody else's eyes, but in their own eyes, they are asuras.
Yeah.
Meaning they do not feel that they have done enough.
Yeah.
They are asuras. And I think that's what you try to explain the meaning of the word asura, meaning they are not contented.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that whatever they have achieved is enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which means you can climb as high as possible, but if you are not satisfied inside,
The progress is not a progress.
Thank
you.
Sorry,
Hey, no,
sorry for
yeah,
that.
no, thank you. So, okay, anyway. Na ena deva apnuan purvam arshate gachan purvam arshat, the things that went before. Deva, let me break down that word. Deva, dibyanti iti deva. Devas are gods, but there's, again, I said it's not about gods. So what does devas? Devas are your sense organs. Eyes are devas because this is sun. As we know, the ears, vayu, your ability to touch, tok. Your sensory faculties are devas. Chandrama manusho jata saksho surjo ajayata srodrat vayuscha pranasya mukhad agnirajayata. You know, we have been reading. What does that mean? In your body, there are gods. These gods are because they are luminous. They dibi means to shine forth. They illuminate. They reveal. That is why they are called dibya. Devas are dibyas, shining. What are the shining things in your body? Your sense organs. They reveal things. Light. They are the lights of the world, of your system. The light cannot capture. The light in your body cannot capture your inner being, your Atman. That is all it is saying. When you try to see your mind, touch your soul, you know, hear yourself, no, you can't do that. That doesn't mean that it is not there. Why? Number one, there has to be a governing system for all these competing sensory faculties. You know, you have 10 organs and everybody wants to do their job, overwhelm the other system. But something in there is creating an order. Number one, therefore, there has to be a higher organizer than your mind and your sensory faculties. Number two, we recognize people we have met long ago. We remember Tipu Bhai, even though he almost left us. No, I'm kidding. He just went to India. And then for me to remember, I must have something left behind, even though my neuronic structure, maybe in 3 years, maybe 12 years, the whole thing is changed. I don't have a single neuron left. Still, I would remember people I have met 20 years ago. So it's not just the body that has left the imprints. There is something deeper than the body, or that because your whole body system is changing in every second. All the cells are dying, even the neurons follow the same lead. Therefore, what is there that is constant? Something has to be there as a deeper being. And why do you have episodic memory, like you relate yourself to? And it's not just you remember like the textbooks. You studied in your school, but episodic memory is if someone hurt you when you are like 4 or 5, you still feel the hurt within. You are at that same moment that you sometimes make a time travel to feels like you are still being there. Who is that connecting the past, giving the presence of the past while being now? Something that is not in time, that captures all the modes of time, but that in itself is not in time. That is what you are. So you see, tadhavato anyan atiyeti. So this again in itself constitutes temporality because it is free. It can do anything it likes. And then it has its own dynamism, its own creation. And then it becomes the other. Why do I want to be the other? What is fun in being just dumb myself? Sometimes it's fun to, if you guys have, in college, we used to do Sanskrit drama. And how many people do Sanskrit drama? And then they used to give me one role to play. It's fun. It's just a character. We are wearing these masks and playing characters. You play a businessman character, I play a teacher character. When you are wrong is when you take it too seriously. I mean, like when I start overwhelming myself with my mask, then that's a problem. So all the masks are the characters we constitute, and it creates a dynamism. That is what it is saying. Tadavato anyan atiyeti. Tishthat tasmin apa. Apaha is a technical term here, not for water. It is karma. It's a technical term. Apa. Matarishwa means vayu, prana vayu, dadhati holds. So what happens when in the new unfolding, on new manifestation, new being, our karma is carried by our vital energy, the life force, and does not go away. There are two ways of interpreting this. Why people are generally saying, whatever is happening in this life is my past life karma. So if you don't have children, you're supposed to not have because what you did bad. If you are poor, if you are hungry, because you did this bad karma. That is a negative theory of karma. Shastras did not create this as a justification of what is happening now. Shastras create the theory of karma for you to tell you that if you do good now, good is going to come to you. I'm sorry, there are many factors for you to suffer right now. Maybe you did something bad, but you know what? Maybe someone very close to you did something bad and you are just getting that due to association. Sometimes there is a karma due to association. Do you think that there was only one person in a plane 747, or you think that there was all the 500 people had that exact moment written for their death? One fanatic does one stupid thing, other people just die innocently. It was not their time. Therefore, we have all these pishachas and everything, because our very theory is saying that everything that happens is not predetermined. There are some tendencies that are determined, other tendencies you determine for yourself or for others too. There's one terrorist, makes himself miserable, makes other people miserable, and then America or whatever countries go and start bombing their village, makes the whole village miserable. You see, whose karma is that? Can you say, oh, every villager is a sinner? No. One person doing bad can cause suffering to so many. Association. Therefore, we have always been saying, do not associate yourself with bad karma people. I'm not making it up, right? Because you will, it's like a tapta ayopinda. But what does it mean is like, if you have an iron ball, you drop in fire, it's going to turn into fire. It's going to be really hot. But the iron ball is still iron ball, okay? It is not fire. But it will do any task that fire is supposed to do. The same way, if there is fire, a bad karma fire, you go and, it feels so good, by the way. Listening to good people is much difficult than listening to these intoxicating, people. Picking up bad habits is always easier than picking up good habits. Reading newspaper or listening to CNN is easier than reading Upanishad. It's very simple. Now you can try yourself. But it's always, bad things are easier than good things. Bad choices are easier than good choices. That's matter is
Question on
yes,
this.
yes.
So I totally understood that company of bad people makes you bad. But where we stand, how we change, if we do not try to change bad people to good, and which you cannot change till the time you to go to their company and try to change to the good, how the world gonna change towards good? If we don't stop fire with the water, fire will keep on growing.
So this is always a task of a very tender balance. How do you help scorpion to cross a river? There is no way the scorpion will not bite you. So number one, you have to know your toxic tolerance level. Everybody has a different level of tolerance, And so if you have a higher degree of tolerance, you are not going to be affected, then you can start that company. How do we know if we are being affected? We know that, like immediately your own behavior, your own way of thinking, when it starts changing, then you are not ready to go into that. You may have desire to change other people, but if the gravitas, the weight of negativity is more powerful than your light, you have to find someone else to change that person.
Back off.
You back up. But if you can, and that doesn't mean that you cannot find other people where maybe your light might be good enough, like a neck to neck balance, So ultimately, how do we judge in our everyday life, in our practical? Because what I'm trying to say is not make philosophy. It has to come to our practice. We have to be able to pick up something that we can explore in our own life. So try to feel the constitution of sattva. And then when the balance of sattva is not affected by any company, no harm, nothing to worry about. When your plane of sattva gets disrupted to the extent that you have to monitor that. What happens to highly achieved rishis? They have such a cocoon of their being that nobody can come and touch and affect them. Everybody today says untouchability, what a horrible Hindu culture. Oh my gosh. And of course, the way we are implementing this is actually in a very disgusting, horrible way too. We are just naming somebody by birth and whatever and saying, I can't touch you, I'm so pure. But the original idea was like this. If you are maintaining the absolute vow of non-violence and truth, you do not touch a violent person. Somebody who thinks about killing, because by touching his body, his desire to kill somebody will transmit into you. Just like bodily heat is physical things are transferable, mental things, thoughts are also transferable by touch. That is applicable for those people who are not already enlightened beings, but who are exercising. There are two phases. We are trying yogis, and then there are ultimately achieved yogis. The formula that work for achieved yogis do not work for the trying yogis. So the people who are trying, like the people who are going to college, why don't you help other students? Okay, well, good. I mean, shall these girls focus on their homework or get 5 students? Like their time will come. It's like that is how you have to feel about it. Tad ejati tannai jati tad dure tadvantike tadantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasya asya bahyata. Very, very easy. Tad ejati, it is in motion, it is in dynamism. So you do not think that you can never have dynamism. That is when dynamism means creativity. Whether absolutely real creation, false creation, don't worry about it. People make films, it's not absolute reality. People play virtual games, it's not absolute reality. Some of the things are good only in virtual world too, you know that well, you know. Tannai. So the knowledge is not about knowing one type of soul that it has no motion. Wisdom is about knowing both. We live in action and we also need to liberate from action. How can we do both? Yes, that is what we can do both by recognizing our inner fabric of being while also embracing your body and mind the way they are constituted. Give them some tasks of your choice, otherwise, they will pick up a task of their choice. If you don't give your kids homework to do something or play something, they will find something else for themselves. And that may not be of your liking. So therefore, it's like mind is like that. If you give a task of your liking, then the mind will be, engaged in that. Tadure, tadvantike. So there is a farness and nearness. It's already right here, but at the same time, you can also find a sort of a distance there, dura. Tad antarasya sarvasya, every individual, within every individual, this same material of being, of consciousness, of bliss is there. Tadu sarvasya asya bahyataha, just like it is within. Think of the soul within. No, also without. Everything manifests in the world. Develop your vision to see the world as a blissful emanation, extension of this amazing being which you are. The capacity to be so many and to create so many dreams and fantasies and realities, and sometimes even make yourself miserable and happy also sometimes, This is amazing in that sense. Yastu sarvani, this is the last one I'm going to do. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani eva anupashyati sarva bhuteshu cha atmanam tato na vijugupsate. What is our fundamental problem in living in society? Our capacity to hate. Don't think that our capacity to be passionate about, to be envious about, to be jealous about things. They are also very moving, they are very powerful. But the ultimate capacity we have is the capacity of hatred. When something I hate, I can be disgusted by that. The things I hate can make me numb physically. Something you do not like to see, someone, if someone hurts you so much and you do not like to see that person ever, and then you accidentally run into him, you may think that, oh, I'll be very mad. Yeah, you can be, that's one thing. But you can vomit. Have you ever thought about that? That's a totally different reaction we in psychology don't talk about. Because you hate the person so much that it disgusts the presence. What is happening in our great America today? We are teaching people to hate the people who are not like us, right? who look like brown or who look like white or who look like women or who look like God knows what, who may be following this God or who may be following that God. The power to hate is the ultimate divider. The power to love is ultimate uniter. And the power to hate is ultimate divider. We create our barrier by not liking, hating those who we do not like to. And the people who are more scared of losing their self-identity, they hate others the most because who are worried about their own territory, who are confused about who they are. The more you are confused about who you are, the more you need to hate others to define your territory. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani eva anupashyati. If you wake up tomorrow to see that all the living beings are within you. And sarva bhuteshu cha atmanam, also that you are in the heart of every living being. Hatred is over. So how to re-educate ourselves is by our constant focus on seeing ourselves manifest in each of you and seeing each of you mirroring in my soul, in my inner being. There is a big meditation here to be able to switch sides, basically, to feel the way others are feeling, to find love in others. Like love means like to believe that that person actually loves me, to believe that that person loves me, I love that person. When you want to erase your enmity with somebody, that is the exercise, yogic exercise. You have to create a space in your heart and extend that heart to the person that you have not been able to fully love or forgotten how to love. Because you forget to love one person today, tomorrow you will increase that. There will be two and multiply. You will end up being a person who is incapable of loving. That is the journey of our social life right now. Because our social philosophies today, this is why fundamentally communism, capitalism, all these, I don't care the isms. Every single ism is teaching us to hate others who do not agree with us. We are collectively developing into this big tribe, hard to govern. Before it was okay because these tribes were 20, 40, 50 people tribes and they hated each other, they killed each other. Humanity survived. Today, when like this 1 billion population hates another billion population, and then before they had the weapons made out of the backbone of another animal or humans or something. Now we have the weapons made out of nuclears. We can annihilate. So our future for the humanity cannot come by the philosophies that hate, and it cannot also come by the philosophy that says that life has no meaning. That is the point I'm making from evolutionary biology, because evolutionary biology, the modern philosophy of biology, does not give meaning to life. Life is just a pure sheer accident, and it doesn't have any teleology, any purpose, any plan, any program. There is nothing for you to achieve out of this life. It's just a bubble. That just happened. That leaves us dangled and leaves us without purpose. And humans, even if there is no bigger purpose for us yet defined, nobody defines your purpose. And another theory is God has a plan for you. I don't want to work on that plan. Because if my dad says it, oh, Thaneshwar, I have such a beautiful plan. You know, my God, my father had a beautiful, we are 4 brothers, and my father built 4 houses. And I'm not telling you stories, okay? And my father said, my 4 sons, these are the houses for you. And he gave us those houses. And we all sold those houses. My another brother is here, and one brother lives in Germany, another brother lives in England. So father making amazingly beautiful, and then some of us don't even have our own houses now abroad, okay? But why are we? Because it is our free will. We want to make our own plan. That is what karma theory is about. You do your own karma. But there is a risk too. You have to learn to be responsible, because when daddy is watching over everything, everything is going to be fine ultimately. But when you have to watch over your own actions, then it's kind of very responsible philosophy that you have to learn to take responsibility of your actions and of your life, and ultimately of how you want to spend whatever the remaining days or years of your life. Nobody else is planning for you. I'm sorry. It would be nice if somebody would plan for you, but you have to plan for yourself. Om Bhadram Karneभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येम शविर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनौ विद्भसेमहि देवहितं जदायुः. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.